that's beautiful. So AMC jumped up to the top side of this little wedge that we were trading in for a while. And it seems to be holding up here. I wouldn't be surprised if it dips for the next 10 minutes or so while Robinhood starts being able to buy. They like to do that. Shoot some requests in the chart and we'll jump right in. VIH, let's take a look. My buddy Mike likes VIH a lot. He just made his first 300% options play on it. So first thing we want to look at, right, is what's going on in after hours. Does it seem to matter? That does not seem to help us, right? So kind of ignoring the after hours a little bit. Then let's jump to a bigger chart, so probably 4 hour. So turn after hours off. And it had almost a full retrace from low to high here. It'll be interesting. So now we'll turn after hours back on and kind of see what's going on. So it did seem to continue to a new all-time high, and then we have we'll go high to low on this one. Yeah, so we have a little bit of a downtrend forming. The big thing is we need to see it how it opens, right? So we'll mark the close. And we're starting to see volume picking up. It's holding the closing low. So I would be tempted to say that it does something like this. And then starts another uptrend. So for this chart, I'll create an alert. If it crosses below or at or below the 11.17 mark, I'll get a little chart alert and I'll look for an entry. Next thing I want to look at for VIH is take a look at the options chain. So they only have monthlies, so that expires not this week but the following. And the options aren't trading that expensive right now anyway. And then if I wanted to go more into this, I would jump into this is VIH. If I wanted to go more into this, I would jump into Unusual Whales' feed. But let's jump right into the next chart. We're going to do BTCM. Nice little pop after hours. It's holding above our closing mark. We'll do the same thing. Put a market wherever we closed. And then create an alert on it. If it crosses at or below the 12.5, I get a little mark. So zooming out on VIH, let's go to a 4 hour chart. You can kind of see there was two downtrends, and each time we invalidated one, it just shot up. So this was the first downtrend. We invalidated it, it kind of gapped for a second, and then went boom. And then it hit the second one, started to come down, bounced off of our bullish trend line, and then as soon as we broke through this one, boom, another shot up. So BTCM's a nice setup because they're running out of bearish trends to short with, so now it's just resistances. Plus the entire float is utilized short float. So that's BTCM. For cancel. Okay, so for our alert, I put it at 1205, and then I'll put another one down at the low of yesterday, which is 1081. Those will kind of be my two entries for BTCM. All right, next chart we'll do AMC. So I'm on a 4 hour on AMC. It's a beautiful chart. We're starting to curl very hard, and then we're testing these support levels. But you can already see in pre-market we're trading, what is that, 1%, 3% higher. That's a beautiful thing. And to zoom in a little bit, We have a couple bullish trends, and we just broke to the top side of this wedge, which is really nice. We'll have some resistance at the 46.38, but same thing, we're going to put an alert at the closing number, and if it fills the gap, we might take a position in the options chain on this. So that'll be 44.13. Sweet. Next chart, BBIG. It's a little interesting because there's not much data to go off of. It had this crazy 1 to 9 move in a week of trading, and then we're doing kind of the same thing here. So we might consolidate for a while down to the 6.05 support, but my understanding is that the entire short float is utilized. We can do MMAT next. I already have it charted. So for this one, same thing. We actually closed red on this one, but we'll want to mark that, create an alert on it, and if it crosses below it, then we'll get a little indicator. But yeah, let's do a little technical work on this. So let's just take a look at the last big push up. It was over 3 trading weeks. Sorry, I'm like shaking from the gym still. This is BBIG. So I'm almost inclined to say that this goes a little bearish today, probably down to the 688 support, and that's kind of where I want to put a mark. So I'll create 2 alerts on this chart. And then let's take a look at some trend lines. So whenever you're drawing trend lines, you want to take a pivotal spot and then see which ones kind of bounce off of it. So this isn't perfect, but it's a good example of what's going on. And then we want to do the bearish trend line as well. So we actually do have some conflict coming up on this chart, which makes for a bigger move wherever the buyers and sellers shake hands. So it should happen pretty early into the day, actually. And then it'll probably dip false. So if it's going to go bullish, it'll probably dip to the support and then blast through the bearish trend line. And if it's going to go bearish, it'll probably dip to or pop to a resistance and then blast down through the bullish trend line. Either way, long-term outlook is definitely bullish. MMAT. So I actually charted this one a little more in depth. Let me see if I can zoom in so we can see it. Great. Yeah, this one's looking beautiful. So look at this massive uptrend. We invalidated that push down. We did have an ABC and then it kept pushing down, but if we're looking at today's numbers, we're already opening above where we're trading, and it's the 9 o'clock mark, which is a good thing. So 2 alerts. One of them will be 537. So when you're trading options, you're looking for an arbitrage opportunity, and that means there's a fair value. There's the buyer side of the market, there's the seller side. You want to buy when it's in the buyer side of the market and sell when it's in the seller side of the market. You don't want to buy a call when it's in the seller side of the market. The premium will be too high, and you're more likely to hit resistance and bounce down and then lose money or run out of steam. So we are starting to see that 9 o'clock dip. Interesting. We'll see how that plays out. I have a mark at 537. I already have a long position in MMAT. Next, we're going to do Sundial. I don't really trade Sundial, but John has been talking to me about it a lot. He's a wizard, so we'll take a look. So we're going to go to the week chart on Sundial just because I haven't charted it before. Great. So we can see here, as soon as it breaks the bearish trend line, it starts to pop up, which is a good thing. And then now we're going to take a look at what we can find for bullish trend lines. I like that one. And then we'll do our bearish trend on top. So we're going to cut out any of the extreme wicks. We just want where it kind of is. It's coming into a big pivotal moment, just like a lot of these stocks. And then from our week chart, we have kind of a macro view now. So then we'll zoom into a day chart. It's showing the same thing, just a little more detail. It's starting to break through the buyer side. We do need to see a punch of volume before anything happens. As you can see here, the volume came in bearish the last time we were at the top of this trend line, but now that they're tightening up, it's going to be a lot harder for the bears to push it back down. Same thing for the bulls, though. The good news is the bulls have a much shallower trend line. So the grade of a trend line equates to how hard it is to short or to go long with it. So when the bears have this steep trend line, they have to short harder to get more return. Whereas the bulls, if you take a look, they have to buy once, it goes up, twice, it goes up. So if it comes back down sometime this next coming week to the 0.66 range, then I'm looking to come in. So what I'll do to gauge that is I'll put a little box right down here, and then I'll create a couple support lines that I would like to put marks at. So ideally we're getting in at 0.65 on this one, so I'll create an alert is at or below 0.6407. Cool. Next chart, what do we see? What did we want to do? Blackberry. So Blackberry's in a very interesting situation. It has kind of a couple options here. So on the large macro for the day chart, it could bounce down to the $10 mark, or it can hold this support here. I'll zoom in a little bit to show you what I mean. So this is the wedge that it's been trading in, and then we are getting some smaller pushing through here right now. So this is too steep to hold, right? So this won't work for the bears. So they'll probably have room to run into this gold box, and if it blasts through the top side, it has room to run to the 13 to 14 range. I'm pretty bullish on Blackberry. It'll trade sympathetic with AMC. Let us take a look. Yeah, so this is my entry zone on Blackberry. I keep all my charts, but this is my entry zone on Blackberry. So I've been going long every time it hits this box just because it was a pivotal support. This is my get out of dodged zone, which is 907. If we break below that, then we come all the way down to the 7 mark, but I don't think that happens. So to iterate, it's kind of in a peculiar situation on the macro. It has a lot of sell pressure still, but it has room to run to get to that sell pressure. They aren't going to short heavy until we touch this line like they did here. And the bulls probably won't go long unless we confirm break through it, or if it comes down to the buyer side of the market again. So for Blackberry, let's put our mark at, one of them is at 1085, creating an alert. So it's at or below 1094, and then the second alert is at 1053. So those are my two alerts for Blackberry, at or below 1053. Already long on Blackberry though. BBIG we just ran through. It's a little bit peculiar. It's in a wedge. It wants to break up. If it breaks up, it has room to run to 10 and then 12. If it breaks through those, we're testing highs. No resistance is a good thing. Massive volumes coming in pre-market, so looking good on BBIG. BTCM, let's take a look at the pre-market's doing. Same thing. It's holding great levels, and 1205 is kind of where I would look to enter, or more ideally 1096, but I'm not sure that we could get that early day. And then let's take a look at what's trending. So at this point in the day, I always take a look at Wales' feed. Unusual Wales posts what's trending on FinTwit. And for this morning, he wrote about Microsoft, about Boeing, about GameStop and AMC, and then here's his trending list. He didn't post one today. AMC's up 3% in pre-market. That's pretty fucking good. Oh boy, it's up more than 3%. Look at that pop, sweet. So like I was saying earlier, our next resistance line will probably be at 46.50, but it won't hold this through open. It'll get gap down a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if it is able to fill the whole gap. So the whole gap would bring us down to 44.13. We're so high right now, I highly doubt that's the case. People are hyped about AMC. And again, as everyone knows, if we break through the 48.50 to 51 range, there's really not much resistance to the high 60s. CEI, I don't know what that is. Oh, Root. People have been asking me about Root. We could do that one. I did chart it before, so I always chart on a macro. For Root, this is kind of how I saw it playing out. If it broke through this, we could have room to run to the 12, and then if it didn't, it would come back down to support. And then now that we found support, I'm going to remove this old trend line, and I'm going to draw a nice new one that kind of picks up on everything I want. So for Root, we're looking at another pivotal move on 913. And if we break below this, we have support at 5, and if we hold above it, there's resistance at 663. So kind of an interesting play. It seems to be opening where it closed, so no need for an alert. Just keep it on your watch list. Not financial advice. INRT. For options plays today, I trade mostly off of my watch list here. So probably something on here, and then this one's just mislabeled. This is just kind of what I've been trading actively. And then whatever option I like, I'll put it over here, and then this way I can see it forever. So left side is the chart, right side is the options. So if I wanted to look at a specific option for Root, I'd click trade. I'd copy, say, the $7 call or $5 call. So I'd copy that. I'd put it into a watch list that's linked to my red chart. So Control V. And then when I go back to the charting tab, I'll have Root on the left side, and then I can click this and it'll show the Root option on the right side. Relative volatility is extremely important on options trading. So as you can see, once it enters into the low volatility states, people start buying. So when it enters into the high volatility states, people start selling. So that's kind of the gauge on Root. It wasn't trading very far apart because it's in the money. It was trading from 130 Friday to 107 low. And then time decay kind of got it for the implied volatility, kind of got it for the whole day. CEI, let's take a look at CEI. Damn, look at this volume coming in. Yeah, pennies are tough, man. So let's just draw some quick resistance lines. I think it has room to run to $1.05 easily off this volume, and then if it breaks through there, the next resistance is up at 110, and 1.4. Yeah, so this actually looks pretty wonderful. I will put this on my watch list for today. Nice call. INRT was that. How's Game doing? Yeah, so Game's at a really pivotal spot. It's getting no volume, but that's kind of expected before earnings. A lot of people will try to buy the rumor and sell the news. If they just crush earnings, I see it having room to run to the 350 mark, and then it'll face some real resistance in this zone. And if it fails earnings badly, it's back down to the 160. Alright, we'll do 2 more charts, so throw a request in and then I'm jumping into my trades for the morning. They'll all be listed in my Discord for free. If anyone's not in there, here's the vanity link. Whoa there. So it closed at 24.99. It hit a high of 42.39 in pre-market this morning, and then it entered into a bearish trend down. So we are going to label this A, and then we're going to do high to low of this guy. That's tough. That's a lot of hours. Do a 1 hour, maybe see a little better. Okay, it already had an ABC. Sweet. So what do I mean by it had an ABC? Let's take a look. So A comes down, right? It's your first push against the trend. And then from here, we're going to draw a fib high to low on this guy. B retraces up to the 50 to the 80. So I'll expand it so you can see it. The 85.4 retrace. Generally, you want it to land in the 70 to the 61.8, the 72 to 61.8, which it did perfectly. And then we'll take this trend line that we drew, which just measures the distance, and we'll put it right here. So a perfect ABC would have us coming down to 24.5. So we'll label it for you guys, A, E, C, and then a continuation up. So I will look at this today as well. I'll add this to my watch list. So A down, B up, C down. It did take that format perfectly. And then we could see a continuation up from here if it plays out. So draw an alert at these 2 marks. So the first alert is going to be 25.03 at or below. Second alert, which is ideally the C pivot, is 24.35. So creating another alert there at or below, and then draw the gold box so we can see it. And then if it lands in this gold box at open, we'll look for a continuation to the upside, and we'll start unloading if we go calls at the first resistance zone, which would be here at 30. So 24 to 30 is the move we'd look to capture on this. At least I would look to capture. I'm not a financial advisor. Yeah, but as it comes down, I would buy something at the money, or in the money. CT, I wouldn't get anything that's out of the money. So if we go to the trade tab on this, it only has monthlies, and if we go to an at the money one, this isn't accurate because it had this big ass after hours move, but we'll see how the implied volatility plays out. Alright everyone, that's it for the morning charts. I am going to set myself up for some trades. Jump in the Discord. I will post them all there. Have a wonderful morning. Let's make some fucking money.